What is up, Heat Seekers? I'm not Cody. He's not Shane, but we're going to have a fun Wednesday night show regardless. Brad, it's been like a couple years since you and I have been on a Wednesday show together.
This could be dangerous.
It could be dangerous.
It
We
is
don't have
going to
any
be awesome.
we don't have any special plans. You know, this was kind of a last minute thing. The guys, Shane's not feeling well. Cody got called out of town for work. So we don't really have a plan. We're just going to talk football. We're going to answer questions. We're going to have some fun with it. And, we'll see how it goes.
It's going to go off the rails quick as soon as the questions start flying in.
Right?
It's definitely been an interesting season of fantasy for sure. So there's lots of trade questions. I mean, even tonight, I'm getting trade questions from guys and comments from league mates, and because in the leagues, I'm at the point in my football season where if I'm winning, I'm trying to make sure I'm ready for the playoffs. If I'm losing, I'm rebuilding and looking towards the future. If it's a redraft, I'm just trying to figure out a way to be competitive. So we're at that point where you got to make those choices.
Yeah, it's been a strange season to say the least, and I mean every season at this point in the season, every season we're talking about that because everything that we thought was going to happen doesn't happen. Everything that we thought wasn't going to happen does happen. And like I just got done reading, like looking at somebody like Deontay Johnson from 2021 till now. He had like almost double the yards last year at this point. He had 3 touchdowns at this point. He has 0 this year. It's stuff like that makes it real frustrating because, that was a guy that even me as not a huge Deontay fan said, this dude's at least a safe play, right? Like he's at least going to be a steady option for you week to week. And I didn't think it mattered whether it was Trubisky or Pickett, because I thought both of them would be at least just as good as Roethlisberger was for him last year. And that just hasn't happened. Has not happened. And now, people have been calling for Matt Canada's head there with that offense not doing well. And now Frank Reich is connected. People trying to mention him in there as a potential offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Maybe we see that happen next year. But what do you think?
It'd be a step up for him for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. What do you think of somebody like what do you think that offense could do next year? Because I feel like the main components are going to be the same, right? It's going to be Kenny Pickett, it's going to be Najee Harris, it's going to be Deontay Johnson, and it's going to be, George Pickens. So what can they do going into next year? Do you think just fixing the offensive line will help that offense get going? Obviously, a second-year quarterback rather than a rookie. What do you think they really got to do to get us these fantasy-relevant players back that we expected with Najee and Deontay, going into 2023?
Well, when you look at how this team grades out, I mean, the offensive line is obviously the biggest issue that they need to figure out how to fix. I mean, they have some potential guys that they like, but their next draft really needs to focus on fixing the trenches. I mean, the trenches on both sides have been kind of where some of their concerns lie at. And once you start doing that, and then you're adding in a second-year quarterback. Kenny Pickett now has had some time. He's had his feet in the fire long enough, and you're going to see some development. I am very much under the impression that they're moving in the right direction. They have enough skill position players. I know the world is a bit hot and cold on Najee Harris, but I think Najee Harris is fine as their RB1, can do what they need him to do. But as you can tell, he needs some sort of a semblance of an offensive line to be decent. They got to give him something to work with because he's not doing well. So he doesn't have that skill set to be able to make something out of nothing. So, you need to give him something. So it really does start with the trenches. And then once you do that, then some of these other things come into play. But look at the way their team is built. I mean, they've got such good skill position players, but Ben couldn't really produce with them, right? He got him to the playoffs and he just couldn't go any further from there. So what you do is you fix the line. You hope your second-year quarterback takes the next step because you invested a first-round pick. So you're probably going to see him for another year or two after that before they start calling for his head if he's not good enough. So I think they're not far away from being very fantasy relevant again, but you got to start up front.
I think that they need to really start utilizing Najee the way they utilized him last year. They're not throwing to him nearly as much. And I think with the offensive line being where it's at and him being such an inefficient runner, in part because of that, and in part because I just don't think he's the runner that people expected him to be. They've got to start utilizing him in the pass game, or else there's just no value from him for that team. But anyways, that was just a little bit of a ramble. We're filling space here. Ask your questions if you got them. We'll answer them.
It's not often you get the two of us together on a stream anymore, so you might as well take advantage of it.
No, very, 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 very unlikely that you'll see this again this year, because we don't like. We already have Sunday nights that we spend together, getting the waiver video together, and we can't really stand each other for 2 nights a week. So,
dang, Rick just said he hates me, is what I just heard. I'll tell you.
So
no, we got a lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, we're constantly, for those of you that aren't in the inner workings of Roto, we work behind the scenes trying to get the site better, and Rick's working really hard to get that improved, working hard to help us improve our video content. So all those shorts that you guys are posting your amazing comments on, Rick is helping me get better at those so that we make you better content. So we work together a lot on things. So you don't see us as much on stream just because we got so many other things we're trying to do to give you value. We want you guys to get value.
2023 is going to be a big year. Big year. 2022 has been a big year for us so far. So we thank everybody that does come out, watch these streams and chats with us, ask questions, whether it's, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Sunday morning, or on any of the videos, shorts or long form that we throw out there. And look at there. Cody off the schneid there. Look at those beauties. I just got home, so thanks for holding it down. If you want, Cody, you can jump on in. It's open. So
we just keep chit-chatting. And I will say, to help support our Pittsburgh Steelers conversation, I was just looking around PFF for information, and they don't have an offensive lineman that grades out above a 70 except for James Daniels. And even that, he's terribly graded in the run blocking game. 63.8 in run blocking, but 70 or up on everything else. Their offensive line has just not been doing them anything this season. So that's really been the issue. Now, obviously, PFF isn't the be-all, end-all, but it's certainly – they do a pretty good job with their grading of offensive linemen, at least from what I've seen over the last couple of years that I've been looking at PFF.
They're an offensive line that you can watch and say that it's not good,
you
right?
Can see the deficiencies.
The eye test will tell you everything that you need to know. So – while whatever you think of PFF, if you watch, you'll see the same thing. That's just the way it is. But it's odd because their best offensive lineman is one that my Bears let go. That would be real nice to kind of have in the loop there, except for Tevin Jenkins playing a real good at the guard this year. So that has been a pleasant surprise after it looked like he may not even be with the team and preseason to him playing real well. So that makes me happy.
Suave. JP, welcome, my friend.
7-2, kicking some ass, 10-man PPR. Fields, Swift, Higgins, and Hardman for Justin Jefferson, James Robinson, and Kenyon Drake, ? I have Lamar. Other running backs are Chubb, Etienne, Walker. Wide receivers, Amon Ra and AJB, like J-Rob's upside in New York. So it sounds like he's giving up Fields, Swift, Higgins, and Hardman for Jefferson, James Robinson, and Kenyon Drake. I'm doing this.
Justin Jefferson's elite. He's just ridiculous. I would trade all that for him by himself.
Yeah, I think with you getting 2 more running backs back, Kenyon Drake, somebody just asked on one of our videos, because we've been telling people to pick up Kenyon Drake for 3 weeks, right? Because even if Gus Edwards is healthy, Kenyon Drake's just playing really well in this offense right now. He's really efficient. He's scoring a lot of touchdowns. He's going to get work, even if Gus Edwards, especially after what happened when Gus Edwards came back the last time. He got a bunch of work that first week, but then right back to being injured. I just don't think he's going to be 100% for the rest of the year. And I think Kenyon Drake may be their best running back the rest of the year. I like this deal a lot. Obviously I'm a big Fields fan, and he's the quarterback 1 weeks 5 through 9, which is a big surprise after the way the season started. But in a 1 QB, you've got Lamar, you're set. You don't need Swift because you've got Chubb, Etienne, and Walker. So you add nice running back depth, which could be the difference maker in the playoffs. and you don't need Higgins and Hardman. Justin Jefferson makes you that much better. I love this deal. I'm taking it. That makes your team better, I think.
I mean, the rest of the season, I think on a weekly basis, Justin Jefferson outpoints Hardman, Higgins, and Swift together potentially, right? Like he's almost guaranteed for 100 yards receiving and a touchdown every week, and that's probably the floor at this point. So you can add J. Rob and Kenyon Drake. I mean, I think Kenyon Drake has a better shot of outproducing J. Rob the rest of the season, just because J. Rob seems to be he's nicked up and not completely 100% healthy, and they like Michael Carter in New York too. They just needed more than one running back. But either way, I would do this whole deal just for Justin Jefferson. So I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, I
Bobby,
agree.
If you get that, you're the man.
I agree, because Etienne and Walker look like they could perform just as well as Swift. So you're not taking a downgrade at running back by trading Swift. I would be interested why you hate Justin Fields weeks 14 through 17 though.
I mean, 14 is a bye, so I hate that for him.
Well, yeah,
he's not getting you any points then. But I mean, he's got the Eagles, Bills, Lions. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of what happens this weekend against the Lions, and that'll probably happen week 17 against them. But Eagles and Bills is a bit of a murderer's row. I mean, those are games where he can have production, but he's gonna be working hard for it.
Well, here's the thing, right? We're not looking at Justin Fields for the rest of the year, and we can even throw up Cody's comment here too about. Oh, we clicked it at the same time, huh? About Justin Fields. So, I mean, he just had fine fantasy production against New England and Dallas, who are, Dallas especially is a defense that you would fit in there with the Bills and with the Eagles. So, if he can do that with Micah Parsons running around, I'm not worried about the rushing floor for Justin the rest of the year, right? The passing game isn't really what we're relying on. We're relying on Justin Fields with the rushing touchdowns, rushing for 60, 70 yards. Obviously he's not going to get 178 every week like he did last week, but the kid's really, excuse me, the kid's really finding himself, and he's playing as well, especially fantasy wise. Obviously, like I said, he's the quarterback one weeks 5 through 9, and there haven't been a lot of easy teams on that schedule defensively. Obviously some of those, Philly, stacks up with those guys. Bills stack up with those guys, but I'm not real worried about him. And then, Cody says, what do you guys think of? I just think Fields is finally, they're utilizing him the way he should be utilized, especially without the weapons and without the offensive line. He's getting more accurate, but I can't believe, like, when you look at his accuracy, I need to go look at how many drops the Bears have, right? Because we've seen big drops at the end of games multiple times to keep drives alive that would have put the Bears in a position to potentially, tie the game or win the game.
Right.
I just think that with them really utilizing him the way he's best served as an NFL quarterback, especially right now, like, he's throwing touchdown passes, he's running touchdowns in. So
what do you make of that on top of it?
Do what?
I mean, what do you make on top of it? So Suave here's talking about Lamar instead of Fields off name value.
I mean, you can definitely do that. Because in a 1 QB, that's how I am, kind of, right? Like, last week I had Fields on the bench in 2 leagues where I started Tua and Hurts, and now I'm kind of like, well, shit, what do I do? Because every week I'm going to have to make a decision between Fields and Tua, or Fields and Hurts, and it's going to be more of a headache than I want to deal with. So, do I trade Fields on the hype, which everybody knows I'm a huge Fields fan. I have a huge card collection. I have multiple, autographs and everything, but at the same time, I want to win fantasy, and whichever one I could get the most out of. Now, the deal that you've got on the table, I think, is a great deal for your team, and right. I don't think you need to blow that up to try to go find a better deal for Lamar.
Lamar
Justin
has a
Jefferson,
great playoff schedule, though, right? Like, if you look at the same 14 through 17, Steelers, Browns, Falcons, Steelers. It's a juicy playoff schedule if you needed a quarterback in.
But when it comes to Lamar, though, I'm not really worried about who he's playing, right? Like, I worry about the matchups when it's guys that are like mid, that are fringe guys, right? That's when the matchups really come in for me, at least. I I don't sit guys that are studs. I don't worry about guys that are studs with that.
So who would you rather have, Fields or Lamar, basically? So Suave at this point got denied, unfortunately.
I mean, I would trade Lamar in that deal too if it got me Justin
I
Jefferson.
agree.
I would do that as well. I would trust Lamar more the rest of the season than I would Justin Fields.
I mean,
it's
the cool
Lamar.
thing. Well, the cool thing that we're seeing though is Fields can do his best Lamar impersonation, right? I mean, look at the running ability. When you watch them both, I'm like, okay, both of them could give you elite level running ability. So you have to hope that Fields is going to continue to grow, and Chase Claypool is going to be a huge difference maker for them. I mean, that was just a banger of a trade they made to get him to add with Cole Kmet, with their Mooney. Yeah, I mean, this team is looking ready to roll. If that offensive line can hold up and give him at least a little time and let him get out and make some things happen, and they keep steering into what he's good at, which is the moving the pocket and setting different places for him to be able to make the play happen. Sky's the limit. I mean, he could rest of the season be a QB1, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, he'll be a QB1 the rest of the season. I don't think I have zero doubts about that as long as he stays healthy. Like I said, weeks 5 through 9, he has been the QB1 overall and third in points per game. So there's a couple guys that would be ahead of him that have played one less game because they had their bye or whatever. But, then there's guys like Tua who have just been outstanding, but obviously Tua missed some time. It's definitely tough, but I had to go back because as a Bears fan, I didn't remember the last time that the Bears scored 29 points or more in 3 straight games. Now it's happened one other time since 2015. Like we're seeing some fun stuff in Chicago. Obviously their defense is bad now, and it's super sweet to watch an offense that's actually doing pretty well. But Brad, what do we do with Swift?
I have never been a Swift fan. He doesn't stay on the field. I mean, there's just as good as he can be and as talented as he is when he's on the field. I mean, they've got him on a snap count every week because he gets hurt all the time. I mean, and even these last 2 weeks, he'll give you a couple plays and then he'll be off for a quarter. I just don't. He's going to give you games the rest of the season where you're going to get RB1 production, and it's going to be exciting. But I want consistency. I want a guy who's going to be on the field. I mean, I can't stay with him. I've never drafted him. I've never owned him, and I don't plan on doing it now. And I'm a Lions homer.
So let me ask you this. Are you more comfortable that Jamal Williams is going to be a weekly starter from here till the end of the season than you are Swift? Because Williams,
what's that RB2 value potentially at the best?
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that he's an RB1, but I feel like you can start Jamal Williams every week right now, and you don't have to worry about anything. I mean, there's going to be bad weeks in there, but it seems like he's going to be involved whether Swift is fully healthy or not, because he was at the beginning of the year when Swift was healthy, and he just produces. Like Jamal Williams has been a running back 3 for like 3 years in a row, getting a lot less touches than what he's getting right now for Detroit.
Yeah, the name I would tell people to keep an eye on is a former Charger, and that's Justin Jackson. Craig Reynolds, their RB3, went to IR today, I think, or yesterday. And if Jamal Williams gets nicked up and Swift is already hurt, they're going to need somebody. So Justin Jackson's proved he can be fantasy relevant from time to time. He's just always had better running backs ahead of him, so he's just kind of a depth guy. But he could fill in very admirably in the Jamal Williams role moving forward if he gets hurt, or if Swift stays hurt. Jamal Williams can't handle 25 touches in a game, which is what Detroit kind of wants to give their running back. So, that's what I would say about that. With all these running back injuries, with all these injuries, period, keep an eye on some of those types of names that are just right behind the starters.
And Shane, I am looking for a new hat person for these style flex fit hats. So as soon as I find that, I will definitely let everybody know. Williams says 7-2, first place, 12-man PPR. Would you trade Diggs, DJ Moore, and Foreman for Henry and AJ Brown?
if this is a single season and not a dynasty situation, I don't.
Yeah, we're on the
Man.
redraft show.
Oh, this is the redraft show. It's been a while. Man, I love AJ Brown, but Diggs can be just as good. And
But
I
what
mean,
now? Let me ask you this: does Josh Allen's UCL injury scare you off of Diggs a little bit, or do you think Case Keenum and Diggs could be just as, or maybe not just as, but good enough that you're not going to really be hurt with Diggs?
I'm about to say, remember Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs were already together once in Minnesota, and they looked
Yep.
very good together. So, I mean, that's one of Diggs's highlight reel catches comes from Case Keenum. So, I wouldn't be super concerned. I mean, because Diggs is at that elite level receiver level with AJ Brown and some of these guys that it doesn't seem to matter who's throwing him the ball. It's not a terrible deal. I mean, either way, if you really love AJ Brown and you think Derrick Henry is going to continue to be super strong the rest of the year, I think Foreman can give you close to Derrick Henry level value as long as he's the only running back playing in Carolina. Foreman's an RB2 where Henry's an RB1, obviously, but DJ Moore isn't enough for me to sway either way. So if you love Derrick Henry, take that side with AJ Brown. I would stick with Diggs and DJ Moore and Foreman because there's not enough on the other side.
I'm going the other way. And this is because I'd rather start AJ Brown than Diggs, and I'd rather start Henry than Foreman. And right now, I do not want to start DJ Moore. So,
for context, his other running backs are Pacheco, Foreman, Drake, Edwards, Dobbins. I would make that deal because you really don't have a true RB1 at this point. So I would want Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown is more than. I mean, him and Diggs are same tier for me.
Yeah, I think you'll be good there. I think Drake, you're going to be able to start a lot of weeks here down the stretch. I'm doing that deal because I don't want to start DJ Moore. I don't. We're not going to be comfortable the rest of the season starting DJ Moore with PJ Walker, Baker Mayfield, or if Darnold comes back or whoever it is that they have at quarterback. We're not going to feel good with that.
Okay. So we're on the same page. I would agree to go for the Henry AJ Brown side as well. Thank you for the context because that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, so hopefully Juju keeps it up, right? Yeah, because that gives you three solid receivers there. So hopefully Juju keeps it up. So all right, we're
right here. So
okay. Sit one, half PPR.
Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Rondale Moore. Ooh.
I think I'm sitting Pickens.
Yeah, I would definitely not be starting both Pittsburgh receivers just because they're so up and down. So in that case, it's got to be Pickens because Deontay's still the true one. People are looking at him.
Yeah, I could see the argument to start George Pickens because it's half PPR. He could have a big play that matches what Deontay does in a game. But I also don't feel comfortable with either of those quarterbacks getting him a big play consistently. I'm starting Rondale Moore. I mean, until Hollywood's back, Rondale Moore looks like he's going to be heavily involved in that offense. But I'm kind of talking myself into sitting Deontay Johnson, but he probably is the safer play. Pickens may have the most upside, so that may be my deciding factor there. Do you really need that boom play, or do you just need somebody that's not going to get you a goose egg for the week? Because I think Pickens can get you a goose egg. Deontay's probably not going to get you a goose egg, though.
And looking at, I go with Deontay just because he's getting basically double-digit targets a week. Now, is he getting them all and catching them all? No. But, when you look at his targets, 9, 10, 7, 13. He had 4 in week 4 against the Jets, but the Jets are dominating everybody anymore. It seems like then 11, 10, 12. So he's getting a significant amount of targets where Pickens is getting up there. Now with Chase out of the picture, it definitely helps, but he's still, 3, 6, 6, 8. So it's a little less, but he has, some big play potential too. So it really is pick your poison. I go safer because I want the guy who's getting the most targets, and hopefully he's catching half or more of them.
Just depends. Like I said, I'm the same way, like just in a vacuum. But if I'm playing like the best team in the league, then I'm going Pickens here. And I'm hoping Pickens has a long touchdown, maybe finds the end zone twice. Deontay doesn't even have a touchdown this year, so it's probably not likely he's going to get double end zone opportunities there. But yeah, I mean, Rondale Moore's for sure in, and then that's how I would look at the other two personally. So looks like Deontay Johnson gets 2 votes here, but if you're in a bad spot against a good team, then I probably go Pickens for the upside. How long do you think it takes for Hines to have a meaningful role in Buffalo? And this comes from Kevin. I personally believe that if Allen is going to miss time, then Hines' time could be immediately. I think Case Keenum's more likely to dump it off than Josh Allen. And I keep wondering, like, why are they out there searching for this pass catching running back when I just don't feel like they're ever going to throw to the running back a lot. But maybe they knew Case Keenum was going to have to get some starts in, and he needs a safety net.
Well, the thing that doesn't make sense to me is they've got Devin Singletary and James Cook. I mean, like both of those guys can fit any of those roles. So it's like, why add another one of those same running backs when you've got 2 of them already? I mean, I get getting rid of Zach Moss because he wasn't working for their offense, but so it's really weird. It's a really weird fit. I just don't know how they would separate those touches. It feels like it's a Rams Patriots type situation where they're all going to cannibalize each other and it's just going to drive you crazy every week. So from a fantasy perspective, I've just tried to get away from all Bills at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Cook's not going
this week.
Cook's not going to be involved, right? Like, this is kind of the Cook's not ready for the big stage. That's why we go out and get Nyheim Hines, because if Cook was ready, they already had that pass catcher in there. I think that Cook kind of got hyped up by the whole situation going to Buffalo, being Dalvin's brother. Like, I just never thought that he was that good. I thought he kind of made his money off of being the younger brother of an awesome running back. And then landing in what was perceived as a good spot. But I think Nyheim Hines could have a lot of success in this offense if they do utilize the running back to catch passes more. I do think he'll get some carries too. They've never wanted to give Singletary all of them, even though he's been a very efficient running back. But he's also a small guy, so he can't handle 20. And then Hines is a small guy, so he can't handle 20. So maybe you see them both get 12 and a few receptions each, and that could start this week. It's trade week's always hard for all those guys that get traded. Unless you're Jeff Wilson and you literally go from the offense that you were in to the same offense you were in. It's a lot easier for a player in that position. So I think Hines gets work this week. They definitely went out and got him for a reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Kenny, what's going on?
Kenny.
How you doing? Would you trade Kittle for Josh Jacobs in full PPR? I have Hayden Hurst on my bench. I'm doing it all day, every day.
100%.
Unless there's some crazy tight end, bonuses or anything like that, then Josh Jacobs is going to help your team a lot more. Obviously, Josh McDaniels has really helped Josh Jacobs get to where people wanted him to be when he was drafted. He has scored a lot of fantasy points this year. He's been pretty darn good. So, Kittle has been better of late, but he was very, very inconsistent for a while, and that may return when Debo is back with CMC in the offense, Ayuk in the offense. It could get a little muddy there for Kittle down the stretch this year.
Yeah, it could be tough.
Ooh, this is a good one. JJ or Hill, who you taking the rest of the year?
I mean, at this point, Suave, I would tell the owner that you're trying to trade with, listen, whichever wide receiver I will give you this package for. I mean, because in my mind, they're both. I mean, you plug and play. I mean, there's no situation where I'm concerned they're not going to get you, 15 plus fantasy points, probably even 20 plus most weeks. So, I mean, I want Justin Jefferson.
Hey, quick copping out.
I said I want Justin Jefferson, but
you said it right as I started to tell you.
How can you have a problem with either of these guys, right? Like, they're both elite. That's like saying, who do you want to run the live stream, Rick or Brad? I mean, they're both elite. What can you do?
I mean, we obviously know it's me.
You might be the first person
Everybody,
that would know it's you.
let them know in the chat. Let them know. We'll boot him out of here.
Smash that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hill. It's just hard to go against Hill, right? He's going to get a ton of touchdowns. He's going to get a ton of PPR points. He's got 1,150 yards already this year. Like, he's on pace to break what Kupp just did last year that we thought was nuts. It's hard to say that Hill's not the wide receiver one the rest of the season the way it's going. And that's even with Tua missing multiple games.
Yeah, but he's got some tougher matchups. I mean, but he's one of those guys that matchup doesn't really matter at this point because you just don't stop him. I mean, because him and Waddle are on the field, I mean, you can't really truly double team anybody.
He's so good. He is so freaking good.
He's got the Browns this week, then they got to bye. He's got Texans who are top 5 against opposing wide receivers.
That's because everybody runs against them, though.
True story.
That's because they're the worst run defense in the league.
But that still factors into fantasy value for the receivers, right? You know.
Well, yeah, but I think they're gonna throw the ball against Houston because that's their calling card, right? Like, they've got Wilson and Mostert, but I would almost bet that they throw against Houston, and put up a bajillion points.
I mean, or they can dub them off to screen passes and let these guys run it deep. I mean, there's nobody stopping them. You know, they got 49ers, Chargers are top 15, Bills are top 10, and they got Packers and Patriots at the end of the season. So, I mean, they're all solid against, you know, the receivers other than 49ers. But again, I mean, Hill and Justin Jefferson are guys that it doesn't really matter. You plug them in your lineups and you go. Now, Hill does have considerably more points. And to your point, it's absolutely accurate that Cooper Kupp's record could be broken this year, which is crazy to think about. You thought Tyreek going here was a step down, but it was a step up.
No.
Maybe not you personally, but the world in general thought, going from Patrick Mahomes to Tua was a step down, but
I told them all. I told them all. I'm looking for the article right now. I told them all.
Somebody's pulling receipts.
I told people. I'm not a I told you so person. I don't go patting myself on the back all that often, but this one, I told you.
If you have to tell everybody, I mean, right?
Well, I mean, you know, I would love to say that we have 1 million people coming to our website every day, but that's just not the case. You know, I'm not gonna act like it is when it's not, but
kind of a big deal.
But you know.
Yeah,
I was looking at some of my prop bets I put out too. Here's my article that I released on 7/6 of 2022 saying Justin Fields' fantasy value will explode in 2022. Guess what people said about that?
Probably said you were crazy.
I'm nuts.
I mean, it took a few weeks for them to get settled in, but you know, it works out.
Hey, you know what? I will tell you also that I've got some busts in here, right? Like the Jamison Crowder's dynasty value is too low. I meant too high.
Wasn't low enough.
I meant too high.
So Swabby followed up with Lamar, Swift, Higgins, and Mecole for JJ, Kenyon Drake, and J-Rob.
Yeah,
it's too much. Man, so the Higgins part of this deal is interesting because if Jamar Chase really doesn't come back in 1 or 2 weeks like people are kind of anticipating, Higgins continues to be a pretty nice option at wide receiver. So it's like, I mean, you know, I still think if you can get either Tyreek Hill or JJ, you really need to consider it because those guys are elite.
Sully, here's my thing, right? I don't care in a
We'll
1
come back
QB
to Suave.
league.
We just got
No. I'm talking to Suave. In a 1 QB, I don't care who my quarterback is. If they're a starting quarterback in the NFL in a 1 QB, the difference is just not normally enough if I can get the value elsewhere. And JJ is a huge upgrade. And those wide receivers would be so good. You're not taking a huge hit from Lamar to Fields. You're just not. So I would do it. I mean, that's just my take. And, you know, Sully's in the chat. He'll tell you, I don't care about quarterback. And I won a super flex league last year starting Jared Goff and Josh. I had to start Josh, the guy that comes back like every 2 years and gets 3 starts. You know what I'm talking about?
Back every few years.
What's his name? Josh. He was with the Jets last year. First name's Josh. He played for the Vikings back in the day. He's
McCown.
Not McCown. He's been retired for like 6 years, Brad. Josh Johnson. That's what I'm thinking of. Josh Johnson. I started Jake Fromm multiple weeks.
I'd have just picked somebody else. If I only
it's a
have
super flex league.
Well, but I won a super flex last year, literally starting Joe Burrow all year.
Well, right, and that's what I'm saying is that quarterback's just not as important to fantasy as people think. Even in super flex, I think they're grossly overvalued, and it's obviously it's nice to have one that you don't have to worry about every week. But if you can get a positional advantage at wide receiver, I think in the NFL today, that is a bigger boon for your fantasy team than having 2 good quarterbacks. And I would be fine moving from Lamar to Justin Fields at this point, getting the rest of these guys, because I think you're getting depth at running back where you really want depth, right? You really want to have guys in case you lose Chubb for a couple weeks, in case you lose ETN for a couple weeks. You want to have these guys, and you're getting a huge upgrade from Higgins to JJ. And I think it's a big win for you either way. Obviously, if maybe if we were talking dynasty, it's a little bit different, but for the next 8 weeks, I'm fine going to Fields. Obviously, if I could keep Lamar and trade Fields, that'd probably be the move, but I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, either way.
Sully, I also have some losses in there. I told you about Jamison Crowder, me talking him up. I also seen in there that I had an Allen Robinson dynasty value is too low. So there's some that are definitely not working out. So you know what I always say.
In redrafts, Allen Robinson is the one that's killing me in so many places because, man, I was all in.
You know what I always say. If we knew half the shit we thought we knew, this game would be a lot easier, and all of the people that tune in to any shows or watch any videos or read any articles wouldn't need us to do the studying because it would be easy. Do we finally see Kyren Williams this week, and does he make my hot take come true? We've talked about
everybody wanting to take victory laps, thinking that their stuff's gonna. No, now I'm going to say no, Shane, just because I don't need somebody else on a live stream trying to take.
Before Shane was on Team Roto, he came on with me, and his hot take was Kyren Williams was going to outscore James Cook this year. Now, Kyren Williams can probably play 1 week and get 10 carries and do that. So I don't know how big the victory lap is, but I do think, and Brad and I have talked about him 2 straight weeks on the waivers, is Kyren Williams has a shot to be that lead back in LA. They don't love Darrell Henderson. They don't love, obviously they don't even like Cam Akers. Malcolm Brown is getting run. There's a huge hole for the Rams. And if Kyren comes back and he is more effective, then he's going to get a lot of work and could definitely be somewhat fantasy relevant down the stretch. There's a wide opening there. Trade Waddle for Ken Walker, full PPR redraft. My other running backs are Barkley, Swift, Pollard, Hunt, Mostert, and Madison.
I love Kenneth Walker. So Christian, I would love to know what your wide receivers are.
This feels like a lateral move to me.
Yeah.
Which I hate. I hate doing unless you're really upgrading running back. But I think Swift and Pollard are fine to start when healthy. If you're deep at receiver, then I would make the trade. But if you're going to take a huge down at wide receiver, then I don't think it's worth making this trade.
Yeah, I mean, because Barkley I think he might still be RB1 on the season.
All right. No, sorry.
It's ridiculous. So
I'm just reacting to comments before I put them on the stream.
We got the Canadian contingents in here going off the chain. That's all I'm saying. I do love our brothers to the north, but y'all are getting silly up in here.
Yeah, we've got one that is so self-deprecating. This
and
guy.
The other one's so self.
Nobody has more misses than this dude, brother. And then the other Canadian is like, I don't know if Cody's ever been wrong before.
I mean, I've met Cody. I'm not sure he's ever been wrong.
I'll still say there's a bigger issue with Matt Stafford than there is with Allen Robinson in LA. Matt Stafford's not right, and he literally only looks at one guy. That offense is
messed up. Oh, follow up on
Christian's
comment. AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Hollywood Brown, Rondale, and Pickens. So
I'm keeping Waddle.
Yeah, I would hold Waddle because the back end of your wide receivers. I mean, Amon-Ra's been inconsistent lately. Hollywood obviously is on IR. Rondale's fine, and Pickens is inconsistent as well. So you really do need to make sure you got that wide receiver. As much as I love Kenneth Walker, I would hold that too. Sorry. So we will go back to Sully, and you can continue to tee off.
No. It's just funny because they're like the opposite, right? And their comments are right next to each other. But then Sully says, "Wasn't me. My hot take couldn't be colder." Hey, my hot take was Cameron Brate being a good tight end this year, and that hasn't worked out.
I mean, he could have been, but he got hurt. So, you see all my hot takes on our YouTube short. So, I'm so up and down. It doesn't matter.
Shane agrees. Cody's never wrong.
Sully, I'm realistic. Cody and I cancel each other out. Yeah, well,
Justin Jefferson and Garrett Wilson for Amari Cooper, Deontay Foreman, Amon-Ra St. Brown in a 10-man full PPR.
No, I want JJ and Garrett Wilson all day.
Yep, me too.
So if you've got those two, I would definitely not be trading them.
I mean, I like Cooper. If the running back was better, like if the running back was equal to Garrett Wilson, then I could see doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Amari Cooper and St. Brown aren't Justin Jefferson, right? Like Justin Jefferson is too good. I think Amari Cooper is going to be, if Watson is any good at all, I think Amari Cooper is going to the moon.
Sure.
The second half
I don't know if he outproduces Justin
but he's not
Jefferson.
Well, no, but I mean, he's not doing that. So,
right.
But I think Garrett Wilson is also, I mean, we've seen the past couple weeks with Corey Davis out. Garrett Wilson is a dude. He was my wide receiver one in this class. I love him. I love seeing him get more opportunity. It's not a victory lap because I think he's not the wide receiver one. He's not scoring the most points yet.
I'll say it's Chris Olave that's been the best wide receiver producer wise. But I mean,
I was high
wide
on
receiver
him too.
one there.
If we're doing the pat ourselves on the back thing, were you right about anything, Brad?
I mean, I'm right about that. You guys are all right, I guess. Yeah, I like Chris Olave. I've got him in a lot of leagues. I mean, I even just traded. I traded for him today in one of our V2 leagues that we've got. Or Roto V League. So
Sully says, I'm not sure God himself could run behind the Rams line. Well, the good thing is that Kyron Williams would be a pretty good pass catcher out of that backfield, I think. And he's
line is brutal.
And I think he's a decent pass blocker. Obviously we haven't seen him do that in the pros yet, but Dynasty 12 team 1 point PPR super flex league. I'm competing. Should I make a trade for another running back? If so, who would be a target? Notable rostered running backs: Kamara, CEH, Dobbins, Dillon, and Gordon. Have we got any news on Aaron Jones and how much he is going to?
No, they still think he has a chance to play this weekend, but I mean, if he plays, it's probably not significant.
Okay, so it's probably not going to be a long-term deal here with Aaron Jones, even if anything else. So, I mean, man.
Yes, because CEH is, for some reason, all of a sudden Kansas City doesn't like him as much anymore. Like he boomed for like 3-4 weeks at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
Dobbins is not healthy, and I don't trust him the rest of the season period. And it's Melvin Gordon. I mean, I would consider cutting him and going somewhere another direction because it feels like a wasted spot with that backfield the way it is. So yes, I would target another running back if you've got something you can trade that isn't going to hurt you if you're competing. I mean, right now, don't sell Kamara. don't sell Dillon. I mean, so if you can somehow package CH, Dobbins, and Gordon in some sort of package, sure, but I don't think you're gonna be able
So
to do that either.
he has Cup, Pittman, Sutton, Boyd, and Gabe Davis. So he is pretty good there at wide receiver.
Okay. He's got enough.
Obviously, Pittman would be a lot better if Indy had a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if
Sutton would be a lot better if Denver had a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if you could do something where you move Davis, Sutton, or Pittman, I would be okay with trading one of those three in a deal. But
so okay, let's say this: if you're trading Gabe Davis, what running back can you get like straight up for Gabe Davis? Can you get like a Michael Carter?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would think you should be able to get any Jets running back, James Robinson or Michael Carter.
Would you do that though? Would you? I think I would trade Gabe Davis straight up for Michael Carter in this scenario with the team that he's got.
Yeah, probably. I'd be okay with that. I mean, or I would try to target, like we talked about earlier, like a Jamal Williams from Detroit. Somebody who's going to get a fair amount of touches. In the 1 point PPR, I think Michael Carter is a little bit more attractive of a choice there, but. Or
yeah, it's gonna be a running back in that tier though, right? A David Montgomery.
Maybe you can try to get Khalil Herbert. Maybe somebody still thinks Monty's more valuable than Herbert, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think you might be able to get Herbert plus for Gabriel Davis.
I'd do that because I feel pretty confident playing.
But I don't feel like, but that doesn't really make a difference on his team right here. I don't think, right? Like
I think
Herbert's
Herbert's probably his RB2. I mean, Dillon's been very inconsistent. Everyone else has fallen off. So I mean, I think Khalil Herbert could push for RB2 on his team.
Well, yeah, on his team, but that doesn't mean that it's a huge upgrade. Herbert's still like 50-50 with Montgomery, and now Fields running more. It's kind of hurt both of those guys.
Sure.
Christian, my other wide receivers are AJ Brown. Okay, we talked that one, didn't we?
Yep, we did. So
do you drop Gus for Jaylen Warren?
No. Me
neither.
I think Jaylen Warren will give you a couple games, but Gus has a chance to be relevant every game as long as he's healthy.
We talked about that offensive line for the Steelers, that offense for the Steelers. I'd rather go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Flex one, McLaurin, Foreman, Connor, PPR.
Probably Connor. Well, no, this week Foreman's going against the Falcons. So Foreman's probably a really juicy play here.
Who's Connor got?
Let's
Arizona Rams.
No, I would probably flex Foreman. Let me take a look here.
And we got Eagles, McLaurin versus the Eagles. Like
Slay's gonna eat.
and Heineke might lose his Heine. I'll go Foreman too.
So there you go. All right, so
12 full PPR. Would you trade Derrick Henry for JT and D-Hop? My other running backs are Aaron Jones and Mike Carter. My wide receivers are Higgins, Mike Will, Palmer, Deontay, and Pickens. I'm doing it.
JT, I think, is better than Derrick Henry, period. I know he's hurt,
I wouldn't go that far. Their offensive line's been trash. Derrick Henry, as much as I say it, I had an article in there that wasn't released. I must have started it and then second guessed myself, but it said why I'm fading Derrick Henry in 2022. And I'm glad I didn't put it out, and I'm glad I didn't fade him.
DeAndre Hopkins is huge though. Too.
Obviously, if JT is healthy for at least the final 6 weeks of the season, then I think this is a good trade. D-Hop, just him alone, especially with your wide receivers, I think is him and Derrick Henry. I think for the rest of the season are probably pretty close. D-Hop's going to get a ton of targets, so I'm doing this trade and taking the risk there.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it.
The journeyman. Thoughts on Terrace Marshall, Jeff Wilson, Kyle Pitts this week?
If you've been watching our YouTube shorts, you know my thoughts on Terrace Marshall. Love it. Love him.
I tell you, he's getting a ton of targets the last couple of weeks. I actually would like it better if Baker Mayfield was the quarterback. PJ Walker is hot trash and needs the CFL, UFL, XFL, any FL but the NFL. In my opinion, I mean, sorry, I don't think he's
great.
That
Now PJ Walker's cousin's gonna find us on YouTube and roast us like James Robinson did. All right, so
I mean, that was roasting you, not us. And you also said you also said JT's got decent speed. I mean,
I felt good about it.
Just a world-class track runner, sprinter.
I'm sorry, I don't take victory laps.
Oh, I didn't even answer this.
Terrace Marshall's good. He's going to get you a fair amount of targets and has touchdown upside every week because they got rid of Robbie Anderson, CMC.
They don't. He doesn't have touchdown. I'll refute that. He doesn't have touchdown upside every week. We're talking about DJ Moore, who has never the same offense that DJ Moore has never had more than 4 touchdowns in. Terrace Marshall does not have touchdown upside every week, just because everybody's gone. Because they didn't even have touchdown upside with all those guys there. This offense is not good. The touchdown upside's not there, but the targets and PPR are. I will give you that. The touchdown upside here is not good for anybody in Carolina. There's no touchdown upside for anybody. Let's just clear that up, Brad.
I'm not clearing it. That's my stance on it. I like Terrace Marshall.
All right.
Jeff Wilson, I like a lot. Kyle Pitts, I do not like this week.
Brad and I are coming back next week, so one of us can pat ourselves on the back.
I don't take victory laps. It don't matter. I know as soon as I take a victory lap, I'll say something stupid, and it don't negate the victory lap. So yeah, Kyle Pitts is one of those that I want to love, but man, for some reason, I don't know why Atlanta doesn't utilize him better.
Dude, I don't get it. It's so sad.
And somewhere a Sully prize, I'm sure of that, because this is Sully's boy.
I mean, isn't it funny? I wonder if Sully's still here because he has been so anti-Terrace Marshall and so pro Kyle Pitts. And now we're saying that you can start Terrace Marshall, but you might want to sit Kyle Pitts. Jeff Wilson is the one that I trust out of the 3. I mean, he showed in 1 week being there for 4 days. Like, he knows this offense. He doesn't have to be acclimated to it. The coach really likes him. That's why they went out and traded for him. But I love you, Sully. But yeah, I mean, Jeff Wilson's the only one I think you can trust right now. Terrace Marshall has looked decent the past couple weeks. He is getting a lot of targets, but there's a difference between targets and quality targets. And like I said, this Panthers offense isn't good, and there's not a lot of quality targets in it. So I'm not excited about it. I do think you can flex him, but there is the chance for it to be a 2-point week. I mean, and as we've seen, unfortunately, with Kyle Pitts, it could be a 2-point week.
Every week could be a 2-point week. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
so follow up from Joe Morales' earlier question. It was the one JJ Garrett Wilson for Amari Cooper, Foreman, and Amon-Ra. So he said, what if it's Najee instead of Foreman? So how do you feel about Cooper, Najee, and Amon-Ra for Justin Jefferson and Garrett
I mean,
Wilson?
Truthfully, I think I trust Foreman more the rest of the year than Najee. Yeah, not long term, obviously. Not long term. I like Najee Harris long term, but I just think Foreman is a good runner. I'd have to look, but he's caught a few passes here too, right?
Who, Foreman?
Yeah.
I can tell you. Give me 1 second here.
He's not getting like a ton of work out of the backfield, but he's not like a complete zero.
He's gotten 4 targets over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's had 2 reception in 2 of the last 3 games. So it's not exactly nothing. It's not big, but I think. But his schedule's soft for the rest of the season. I mean, he's got Falcons this week, Ravens, which are middle of the road. Broncos are back into their. Then Seahawks after a bye. And Broncos lost Chubb,
and they lost Chubb. They got Seahawks, which is a soft defense. Steelers soft, Lions soft. I mean, the Buccaneers week 17 is the only tough defense they face the rest of the year. And against the Bucs, he had 15 for 118 and 2 catches for 27. So he was fine. So yeah, Foreman, I trust the rest of the season more.
Rick Butts 500.
I don't even know. I was going to go down to Suave because he's got a legit question. The rest of this stuff is just silly business.
Swift and Mecole for Evans or Olave? If yes, which wide receiver?
Olave. I want
Swift
Olave in that
and
offense.
Mecole for Evans or Olave.
Yeah, so
I'm not
Mike Evans
trading.
or Olave.
I'm not trading Swift and Mecole for just one of those guys.
I don't have a problem going after Olave the rest of the season, just because
I'd
getting a ton of targets and he's
I'd rather have Evans than Olave.
But I'm fine with either. If you can get either of them, I think both of them will give you good value the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just think I would need more for both of those players because, I mean, Mecole's putting up numbers right now. It's going to be hit and miss. It's going to be some boom and bust.
Let's say with the Kadarius Toney, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean,
like
they went and got Toney, and then Mecole went ham. So, but I mean, Mahomes also threw it 65 times this week.
Kind of a big deal.
A lot of passes there, but
right, so
yeah, I mean, I would just need a little bit more. Should I trade D-Hop for Kenneth Walker, PPR? My running back sucks.
I don't think that. I mean, I don't say they suck. I mean, Rashad White it looks like he's taking over Tampa's backfield for some reason. I mean, Leonard Fournette is falling off. Foreman is playable weekly. Carter's playable weekly. Khalil Herbert is borderline playable most weeks. And then Rashad.
I mean, he's playable. He's flexible weekly, but you're going to get some weeks like this past week where he doesn't get you a lot. But the week before, he got you 99 in a touchdown reception. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So, all right.
I'm taking him. I'm taking Walker there if out of those running backs.
If you've got wide receivers.
That gives you a solidified running back. You don't have a solidified running back right now. You're probably scratching your head every Sunday morning going, who the hell do I start? So you should come in at 10:30 in the morning onto the live stream and ask us, and then we'll give you the wrong answer because we're not going to know either. They're all just too close.
Come on the live stream and listen to the guys talk about it. Let's not tell them to stay away because you don't know.
No, I'm making a point here, though, right? Go back. Why'd you move off of that post?
I did. Well, because I was already moving on.
No, well, yeah, let me talk too. Look at these guys. How do you pick between these guys, right? Carter, Foreman, Herbert.
I mean, Foreman, for me, it's Foreman, then Carter, then Herbert.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what is your confidence level that they finish in that order in any given week?
I mean, it's zero. After Foreman, it's zero. I feel Foreman's still the best. You know, he can start him weekly and feel good about it.
I disagree because I feel safer with Michael Carter because he's going to catch passes out of the backfield, and that's going to be your floor. A target is worth 2.5. Rushing attempts. So Michael Carter's one I feel safest with here. I want to get Kenneth Walker and have at least one guy that I can throw in there that I'm confident about because I'm not confident on a week-to-week basis on any of these other ones. That's why I would rather have Walker than D-Hop. I assume if you're attempting to trade D-Hop, you're competing, and I would have to assume that you've got a pretty solid wide receiver core if you're competing with these running backs. Right. So I would have to think that you're better at wide receiver and you can afford to give up D-Hop if you're competing because you haven't had D-Hop but for 2 weeks or whatever and you're competing. So that would be my take on it. I think I would rather have Kenneth Walker. Thanks for letting me talk, Brad.
I mean, I'm just here watching, man. It's all you, baby. All right. So would you trade Mecole for J-Rob? Also J-Rob or Michael Carter rest of the season?
One thing I figured out is that Suave does not like Mecole or DeAndre Swift because he's trying to move them in every question.
I mean, I don't like DeAndre Swift either, so I would do the same thing. Mecole is one of those that I like Mecole, but I just it's hard to trust that he's going to give you weekly value. I would rather Juju in that offense than any of the other receivers because I feel comfortable with him. Now that they're on the same page, I mean, Juju's just doing very well in that offense. So for me, it's probably Michael Carter rest of the season just because J-Rob's been banged up and those injuries can linger, especially with a guy like that.
Michael Carter's also been in the offense for 2 years. He catches passes out of the backfield. J-Rob can too, but I feel more comfortable with Michael Carter. I do like J-Rob a lot, but I don't think he's full go. I agree. Should I trade either Cup, Jefferson, or D-Hop for Kenneth Walker? Okay, so look, he's got Cup and Jefferson. He doesn't need D-Hop.
Oh, yeah, no,
Get Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I would go get Kenneth Walker. Then.
Yeah, get Kenneth Walker. Jay Jefferson for Godwin and Lockett in a 10-man full PPR. I say no, because in a 10-man, I feel like the best player overweights this by quite a bit. And I feel way better about Justin Jefferson than I do Godwin or Lockett. I mean, think about 100%. This. Scotty Miller and Cade Otton were the two leading receivers for the Buccaneers last week. That team's in disarray. Oh my gosh. Guess what? He's still trying to trade Swift.
I mean, Swift I would as well.
I would do this. If they accepted that, I would do Swift and Dillon for Evans and Olave.
No, he's saying or. It's a 1-or, just like the
other deal. No. Yeah, I still think that
more.
I still think that Swift is worth as much as Evans. I think that is an even trade if you were going to trade Swift for Evans. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't play a lot of redraft, to be honest with you, so I don't know exactly how people are valuing Swift at this point, but I would figure that people still are high on Swift for the second half of the season. He's at least playing, even though he didn't get all the touches. I think you could swing it, and you might be able to make that work.
Yeah, I would not be giving up 2 running backs for either one specifically. At least these 2 running backs, because both of them have individual value that could get you one of those guys, I would think. So if you're trying to make a move like that, I would probably offer a running back straight up for either of those 2 and see what happens. If you're like me and you don't want Swift on your roster, Swift would be the one I would offer, and I would send him an offer for Evans, see what he does, send him an offer for Olave, see what he does, and feel good there.
Fly Eagles fly, by the way. They haven't beaten anyone. We don't care. Hey, listen, I say this all the time. I said it to Sully on a show or in a chat, when he was talking about the Vikings being the worst one-loss team ever. And it's hard to win NFL games. I think the Eagles are great. It doesn't matter what their schedule was. They're beating people up. It's hard to win every Sunday.
I'd be happy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a Bears fan, so I still got the double doink incident in my brain, but I think your Eagles are pretty good this year. Swift or JT?
Yep.
That one's easy. Holy mother of God, did Rick just say he preferred Baker to PJ Walker? That's not saying a lot.
Sam Darnold's coming back from IR, baby. Better watch out.
Hey, Sully, I'm not hating on Kyle Pitts. He's being used wrong. He's being used way wrong. I always love the talent. You know that. I just was not on board with drafting Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase in Dynasty. That's the only thing I wasn't for. Atlanta drafts Pitts and Drake high in the first and refused to give them the damn ball. I mean, Drake does have like a 30% target share. It's just he missed some time, and the Pitts thing I just don't understand. He's so good. He's talented. He's so talented. 10-man half PPR. My wide receivers are Diggs, Kirk, Sutton, Palmer, and Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm thin at running back as well, but should I trade Kamara or Ramondre for a wide receiver like T. Higgins? I'm worried that my wide receivers don't carry me.
No, I mean, those 2 running backs, I think I would rather have.
Well, see, here's what we got. Here's what I got to know. If you're going from Kirk to T. Higgins, or I guess, if we're looking, I don't know how many wide receivers you can start, but if you're going from Palmer to Higgins for the rest of the season, you're getting a huge upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going from Ramondre to, let's say, David Montgomery, I think you're taking a pretty big hit the rest of the year. So it might not make sense to do that, right? So if you've got another solid running back that's going to fill in for whoever you trade, then you might be able to make this deal. But it's not just an upgrade at wide receiver that I'm looking at in this scenario. It's also who am I downgrading to at running back? And does that difference hurt me? Like I said, if you've got a solid running back 3, that can fill in and you're not worried about, then I love upgrading to T. Higgins over Sutton, Palmer, and Kirk, because they're not consistent enough. And T. Higgins with Chase out for at least an extended period of time is going to be a huge upgrade for your wide receivers. I just don't want to downgrade super big at another position to upgrade at another one. Swift, Zoloff sucks. Archived.
Bingo.
Seahawks D has been legit the last month. I mean, the Seahawks have just been legit this season. Kid Kobe says, thank you. No problem. That's what we're here for. We appreciate you coming out, showing the support. If you guys haven't, can you drop a like for us, please? That's all we ask. Would you trade Devonta Smith and Pickens for Damian? Yes. I mean, that's two receivers, but Damian Pierce, I was wrong. We talked about the victory laps earlier, but
it's a weird victory lap to say you were wrong.
No, I'm going the opposite way with this one. I was wrong about Damian Pierce, and he seems to be pretty damn good. Devonta and Pickens, I don't think you're going to be comfortable putting them in your lineup. They're both capable of big weeks, but I don't think you're going to feel good about putting them in your lineup. I think you're going to feel good about putting Damian Pierce in there. I also assume that at this point, Smith and Pickens aren't guys that you're starting week to week. So you're probably trading two guys that you're not starting for running back that you will start. Nady wants to know, and it's crazy that we've got to this point, right? But Pitts or
probably
Dulcich,
right? I mean, Dulcich is getting targeted.
I think you have to. And it's not Pitts' fault. It's Atlanta's fault. Pitts could definitely outscore him this week, but I feel safer with Dulcich.
Sadly.
Jacob says 10-man half PPR. Ramondre for Sun God.
Ramondre.
I'm keeping Ramondre as well.
Yeah.
And then Shane says, let me have my little victories, Rick. What did I? Oh, the Baker Mayfield comment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, it is a little victory. That's for sure. What's your view on Michael Pittman rest of season? If it's trade him with his current value, I can't imagine a target. Thanks in advance.
No, I mean, hold him.
You gotta ride the wave now. It's unfortunate that Indy can't figure this quarterback position out.
I mean, they got to put Matt Ryan in if he's healthy, right? Like, I mean, Sam Ehlinger is just not. He doesn't give them a chance to win. It's not like he puts them in a chance. So at least Matt Ryan makes sure they don't lose.
Well,
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
Maybe they should go call Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson.
Hey, he put up some points last year for the Jets. The bad Jets, not the good Jets that we see this year, but the bad Jets last year.
Bingo.
12-man, full PPR. Sit one, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore, Alan Lazard. We're sitting one of these in 12-man, full PPR.
Lazard.
I'm sitting DJ Moore.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a strong enough feeling either way. I don't think either one of those, if you went one way or the other. I mean, that Green Bay offense is just so stuck in neutral that. And Carolina's is terrible too. So it's like
Carolina's is stuck in reverse.
Yeah, so they're both pretty terrible. So I'm perfectly fine.
Alan Lazard's putting up points. I mean, that's what I look at. Alan Lazard's putting up points no matter what their offense is doing. DJ Moore's just inconsistent in that offense. It would have been nice. Do you know the Green Bay offered a first-round draft pick for DJ Moore at the deadline? Green Bay Packers lead the league in almost acquiring players. Brad, why you look so happy?
That's just insane to me. It's like, what?
Swift or Godwin for the flex?
I think it's got to be Godwin.
I mean, I need to hear more about Swift. If he's going to be more involved, it's Swift for me, but it's not.
Let's see. Let's pull up DeAndre Swift. Let's see what the injury.
Oh, Jacob, what was that question? Ramondre, Sun God, and the Kamara and Ramondre.
Yeah. He's still limited with ankle and shoulder injuries. DeAndre Swift is. So I mean, he's in the same situation he's been in. So he's gonna be on a limited snap count, and I don't trust him. I mean, it's hard to trust him right now until the team shows us that he's doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Godwin, flip a coin. These are the ones I hate.
Every time.
Jacob says he has no RB3. That was the one with Kamara and Ramondre, or Ramondre for Sun God. I keep the running backs.
Yeah, keep your running backs.
Thoughts on Kamara and Fields or J-Rob for Saquon? So Kamara and Fields or J-Rob for Saquon.
If it's a 1 QB, then I want J-Rob and Saquon. If it's super flex, I want Kamara.
I'm confused. Is it both J-Rob and Saquon, or is it Fields or J-Rob in the trade for Saquon? Because I would trade Kamara and J-Rob for Saquon. I would trade any combo of the two on the left for Saquon, if that's what you're asking. I want Saquon in this deal. This is what I want. So I agree with you. And Jacob says, hit that like. Jacob knows what's going on. Jacob knows what's up. LAL says, would you trade Andrews and Dalvin Cook for CMC and Lockett? I picked up Dulcich, and I have Etienne Pierce, Jamal Williams as running backs, and Debo, Sutton, Rondale Moore, Devonta Smith, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I would do this in a heartbeat, unless it's a tight end premium league.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take CMC throwing for touchdowns, running for touchdowns, catching passes for touchdowns.
Yep.
All day long.
Yep.
And Lockett's been pretty damn good with Geno. So what are you going to do? Yep, I do that. I have the Pitts Dulcich decision this week, and I'm sitting Pitt. Sadly, it's not close. I mean, it is sad. And, I know that we had our debates last year, but I do like Kyle Pitts. I do think he's a very, very talented individual. But, man, Atlanta messing up a wet dream there, huh? Hey, bro, we thinking Deontay Johnson or Rondale Moore? I'm going with Rondale Moore right now.
Probably. I mean, it's hard to say that Rondale can't outproduce Deontay.
Yeah, I feel like he's getting used enough that there's a solid floor there. I think he's got the same floor as Deontay, but I think in that offense, Rondale's got more upside. Cody off the Schneid says 16-team 1 QB. Cousins plus Palmer for Terrace Marshall plus Godwin. I have Fields and Jimmy G on my bench. Good trade? Yes. Yep. I think you're starting Fields the majority of the games going forward. Mm-hmm. The Bears have week 14 bye. Mm-hmm. You're starting Jimmy G in week 14. I think,
and you're fine.
I think you're taking Fields the rest of the year. Palmer gets relegated to basically nothing if Mike Will and Keenan Allen get back. So I mean, I think even just for Godwin, like Terrace Marshall, while I do think he could be a flex play, I don't think he's going to be a massive piece to your team. You're probably not going to start him a whole lot, especially in the playoffs. But Godwin, on the other hand, could end up being a starter for you in the playoffs. I like that deal.
Absolutely.
How does Carolina not accept that offer from Green Bay? I mean, I don't know. And that's obviously a rumor. I don't know if that's true. It's just that's what the internet says. So the internet says that Green Bay tried going after Darren Waller, who they also wanted back in the Devontae Adams trade. So they reached back out at the deadline to try to get Darren Waller. They offered a second and a sixth reportedly for Chase Claypool, and Pittsburgh thought that the Bears were going to be so much worse than the Packers that they took the Bears pick instead. And I will love it so much if the Bears end up finishing with a better record than Green Bay and finish ahead of Green Bay and screw the Steelers all in one. And then I seen the rumor that they offered a first for DJ Moore. Would you rather start Dalvin and Mostert or Pollard and Dameon Pierce? I would rather start Dalvin and Dameon Pierce. I know that's not the question, but I'm just saying, can we make it happen?
Pollard and Pierce.
I would rather start Pollard and Pierce right now. I think Dalvin is the best start out of all of them, but I don't know, man. I did not expect Jeff Wilson to be that involved and take that much work away from Mostert running the ball. It looks like Jeff Wilson might be their dude for the rest of the year, and Mostert might not have a whole lot of value as a starter. And you can start Pollard and Dameon Pierce, and Dameon Pierce has been pretty damn good. Pollard's been pretty damn good with Zeke and especially without Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a few questions left. We're going to rapid fire. 10-team league, 8-1. I thought it said 8-11 at first because that I after there. I was like 8-11. Oh no.
Bingo.
8-1. I have Hurts, Etienne, Swift, Taylor, Pierce, Waddle, Higgins, Kelsey, Kirk, Patterson, DJ Moore, Pittman, Pollard, Lazard, Pats, D. Should I just ride the wave? Any advice? I
mean, if you can take one of your running backs and upgrade your wide receiver, I would.
That's what I was thinking. I would, after Waddle and Higgins, it's a little iffy there. You've got the running backs that you can play.
It's the situations.
Because you can, Cordarrelle Patterson and Etienne can be your starting running backs and you're good. If Jonathan Taylor comes back, then you're really set. If I could trade Swift and Lazard and get an upgrade at wide receiver, or even Swift and Kirk, or Swift and DJ Moore and get an upgrade that I'm more confident in, then I would do something like that for sure. But I mean, it looks like you got a solid. If you can't make a deal, I wouldn't force a deal just to make one. I think you have a pretty solid team with good depth at both positions. So I wouldn't force it. Right. Pick 2, Deontay, Sutton, Mooney, or Palmer, 10-man full PPR. I mean, I think Mooney and Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, this week, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that's what it is, right?
Or sure.
If it's rest of the season, it's Mooney and
probably Deontay.
I mean,
yeah, any of the first 3, any 2 of the first 3.
Yeah, Palmer's not the long-term answer, but
Keenan Allen might be back as early as this week, and if that's really the case, then
Palmer will still be good.
Yes, but it eats into his work pretty good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if Mike Williams is out, that's Palmer's big one. Right. If Mike Williams comes back, then that really hurts Mike Palmer. We already did that one.
That one. Yep.
Yes, sir. Left for Saquon. Love it. Thanks, guys. Wentworth says, should I trade Mixon and Deontay Johnson for Etienne and T. Higgs? I would.
Mixon and... Yeah, I'm fine with that. I like Mixon, but I like Etienne a lot too. And that one he already made the trade. He liked it. We liked it. Good Bingo. Deal and good luck, Cody. Parker Warren. Who would you rather start? Pollard? Okay. Oh, we did that one. Yeah, we just did that one.
Philip says he appreciates us all. Sully says you two are awesome. Sully, you are awesome as well. And Cody says, thanks for filling in, guys. Can't wait to get back next week for the Heat Seekers. We'll be talking trade deadline, trade targets to help get teams into the playoffs. So you can look forward to that next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I just want to say, Kenny, get that question in. We'll answer it real quick after I say this. I just want to say thanks to Shane and Cody. They do a great job every Wednesday night. It's awesome. When this whole thing started, it was me, Brad, and Sully basically doing every live show that we had. And these guys doing Wednesday night, giving great advice. Both of them really helps us grow in other ways because Brad and I, as Brad said earlier, get to do a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help us grow. I'm so excited about what's coming in 2023, and that's only possible because of these guys doing these shows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, allowing Brad and I to do the stuff behind the scenes. So, just want you guys to know, Shane and Cody, that we really appreciate you. You guys do a great job, and we look forward to you guys being back next week. I had to have somebody cover for me Sunday morning. Well, actually, I wasn't there, so nobody covered for me. But I figured since I was sick on Sunday, I'd make the time to jump on here and do Wednesday. And Brad's just lazy; he never does live streams anymore. Jacob says, "Do you think Wan'Dale Robinson has a chance of being a wide receiver too?" I do.
Yep, potentially.
Kenny, get that question in. Did I miss it? What?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't got any.
Carter says McLaurin or Deontay for Stevenson. I mean, I would try trading Deontay for Stevenson, but if it didn't get done, I would do McLaurin. I would do McLaurin after that.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, hurry up. Get your question in. Kenny. Oh my God. Killed Kenny.
Yeah.
Shane says thanks.
I can't afford vacations anymore.
Pratt's got to stay and work.
I'm about to say, when you got a job, you got to do something.
Kenny says, what's your thoughts on Jamal Williams' rest of season? We kind of talked about this one a little bit ago, but
little bit.
I have Chubb and Mixon 3 and 6 and looking to trade Mixon for a better wide receiver. I have Godwin, Devonta, Keenan Allen, and Pickens. Yeah, you definitely need to get if you can get a receiver from Mixon, I think you definitely need to make that move. I do think Jamal Williams is flex worthy whether Swift is healthy or not. So he's probably, going to average 15 points, but he's going to have some weeks where he scores multiple touchdowns and gets you 20, 22 points. I like Jamal Williams a lot, and I would really like to see him next year as a featured running back.
Yeah, I mean, he has potential, but with what's coming in the next year's draft class, it might be even harder. So his follow-up is, should I trade Mixon and Devonta and Allen for Jamal and Chris Olave? I don't know that I would do. I mean, Keenan Allen's finally looking like he might actually get back, and if he's healthy enough to play, he'll get targeted.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a downgrade at running back, I think, and
wide receiver, really. I mean, as much as I love Olave.
Well, yeah, because of the two, for one. Chris Olave may be the most valuable singular wide receiver the rest of the season out of those three. Yeah. But yeah, I would look for more of a I would look for a little bit more, maybe a better running back. Like if you did that, if you got yourself a better running back in that deal, then I would be willing to do it. I do like Chris Olave. But yeah, I think you need to get a little bit more.
And Kenny, your question's perfect for our Discord channel. So go to rotoheat.com/Discord, jump in there and post, a link to your league and tag us and say, hey guys, this is my league. Help me formulate a trade offer. I mean, we would absolutely help you out, try to get you a good deal. Because if you're trying to trade those three, you want an Olave type player, but you want a little bit more of an upgrade at running back. As much as Jamal Williams is very playable, I would want something just a little bit better than that. The only other question we have to jump on is Carter's McLaurin and Deontay for Stevenson is what I meant. Oh, so McLaurin.
Oh, both?
I would see if maybe he can kick you back some sort of receiver, a depth piece, potentially, even if it's a Terrace Marshall type player, then, get yourself a little depth action.
Yeah, I
zoom in for effect.
You gotta change up the scenes, bro, so people don't leave.
Well, we're about to leave. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I don't know. If you really need running back and you have depth at wide receiver, then
sure,
I would swing it. But I agree. I would try to get some sort of receiver back in the deal that Stevenson's pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
Stevenson's pretty good.
I like Stevenson.
All right, this is the absolute last one. No more questions. 12-team PPR, 2 flex, quarterback, Geno Watson, Kamara, Mixon, Walker, Pierce. Okay, you're good at both of those positions. AJB, Evans, Palmer, Terrace Marshall, Cooks, OBJ, tight end Pitts, Dulcich, Titans. D, thoughts? I tried upgrading QB. No one interested. I don't think you need to upgrade.
I wouldn't upgrade anything. You're
quarterback.
Fine.
I think if anything,
until Watson gets back.
If anything, I would be willing to move a running back and a wide receiver to get an upgrade for my wide receiver 2. you're not going to be able to start those 4 running backs week to week. It's going to be a headache trying to figure out the 3. And you're probably going to flex a running back unless you have multiple on bye the same week. So what I would try to do is downgrade at running back, upgrade at wide receiver for that 4th running back spot. And I don't think it really matters which one, depending on what wide receiver you get, right? Like I would be willing to start Mixon, Walker, and Pierce if I trade Kamara and get a good wide receiver. I would say like what do you think if you added D-Hop in here, like Kamara for D-Hop or Mixon for D-Hop, or maybe you can get a little bit more.
I would offer any one of those 4 running backs for D-Hop and something, even if it's D-Hop and, I mean, maybe a little bit at tight end. I don't know if this is because Pitts and Dulcich together, that combo scares me. I mean, Dulcich is probably your tight end 1 right now on your roster.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's a tight end premium, I think Dulcich is fine. If you can get an upgrade there, then great. But yes.
Oh, he says he has been starting all 4 running backs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you can start all 4 running backs, then no, I wouldn't even worry about it. Then I would just keep all 4 running backs.
I'm fine with it. Are you starting so do you start 2 wide receivers then?
So 2 running backs, and they have 2 flex spots, so he can flex.
So start 3 wide receivers to flex. Yeah, I mean, if you can start all 4 of those, then I just stay there because that gives you a floor and everything. Yep. The answer to this one's yes for me.
Yep.
And that's going to be it.
You guys.
Oh, what? Okay, that was to the Carter question we already answered, right? Yeah. All right. Hey, drop a like before you go, please. Subscribe if you're not. We would love that. We're trying to get to 5,000 before the end of the season. We'd really appreciate it. And we will be back Sunday morning for the Boomer Bust show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And then next Tuesday, the Dynasty show is at 8 p.m. Eastern. And next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, Cody and Shane will be back. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. And we will see you later. Yeah, check out all the videos. Check out the channel. Check out the website. Love us, please.
We love you.